Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're doing something really cool. We are pulling together expert grammar rules and actual real-world scientific data to build you a foolproof visual study guide. If you've ever found yourself struggling to seamlessly connect complex ideas in your academic or technical writing, well, you are exactly where you need to be. We are going to completely master the mechanics of cause and effect in English. We're turning what usually feels like a messy grammar puzzle into a crystal clear, perfectly logical formula. Let's get into it.
Let's be totally honest for a second. We have all been there. You know the feeling. You're stressing out, staring at a blinking cursor late at night, second-guessing whether you should use because, due to, or therefore. And it matters, right? Choosing the wrong connector or sticking a comma in the wrong place can instantly make a brilliant piece of academic writing look, well, a little unprofessional. But don't worry, by the end of our time together, you're going to have a structured, bulletproof solution to banish that confusion for good.
Okay, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with a quick introduction to cause and effect, move on to connectors with clauses, and then tackle those tricky key punctuation rules. After that, we'll look at connectors with nouns, dive into impact verbs ending in ing, and finally, put it all to the test with a real-world application on climate vulnerability.
Section 1, Introduction to Cause and Effect. Let's lay down those foundational concepts.
So, in any kind of academic or scientific text expressing exactly why something happens and what results from it, that's literally the core of your entire argument. And here is the absolute secret to mastering English connectors. Your choice of word depends entirely on the grammatical structure that comes right after it. You absolutely have to know the difference between an independent clause and a noun phrase. It's a total game changer. An independent clause has both a subject and a verb, meaning it could totally stand alone as its own sentence. A noun phrase, on the flip side, is just a person, place, thing, or idea without a conjugated verb. Lock that distinction into your brain right now, because it dictates literally everything else we're about to cover.
Section 2, Connectors with Clauses. We're talking about that subject and verb combo.
Let's look at the connecting words that specifically demand a full independent clause. Again, that subject and verb combo we just mentioned. To show a reason or cause, we use subordinating conjunctions like because, since, and as. Think of because it was raining. Now, to show a result or effect, we use coordinating conjunctions like so we canceled the picnic. The golden rule here? In every single one of these cases, the connector is immediately followed by a full clause. You can't just slap a lone noun after the word because. It just doesn't work.
Moving right along to Section 3, Key Punctuation Rules. It's all about comma placement.
Now, what's really interesting here is that this is the exact spot where so many students, and honestly, plenty of native speakers too, trip up. We're looking at the exact same sentence written two different ways. When you start your sentence with your reason clause, introduced by because, you absolutely must drop a comma right in the middle to separate it from the result clause. But check this out. When the result goes first, the river overflowed, and the because clause follows, boom, no comma needed. It's just one direct, smooth transition.
So, your big takeaway is to master these three strict rules. Number 1, when you're using so to connect two independent clauses, that comma always goes right before the word so. Number 2, when you use words like however or therefore to transition between complete thoughts, you hit it with a period first, start the word, and follow it immediately with a comma. And number 3, which we just saw, always use a comma after an introductory reason clause.
Section 4, Connectors with Nouns. Let's make that scientific writing crisp and concise.
All right, so we've got clauses down. But what happens when we don't have a verb? What if we just have a noun phrase acting as our cause? Well, grammar rules dictate that you've got to switch up your connector. You can't use because anymore. Instead, you need phrases like because of, due to, or owing to. These are absolutely fantastic for expressing a reason, but, and this is a big but, they strictly need a noun phrase to follow them. You can't say due to it rained. Nope, you have to say due to the rain. The rain is your noun phrase. Simple as that.
Section 5, Impact verbs ending in ing. Time for some advanced structures.
If you are writing in technical or scientific fields, you are going to love this. This structure is incredibly powerful for expressing a direct effect without even needing a traditional conjunction. Here's how it works. You state your cause as a full sentence, drop in a comma, and then introduce the effect using a verb ending in ing. And you'll often pair it with words like thus or thereby. So you get something like, a voltage is applied to the crystal, thus producing vibration. It implies cause and effect so smoothly, and it instantly gives your writing this highly professional academic tone.
Section 6. Application on climate vulnerability. Let's look at some real-world examples. Okay, let's tie this whole shebang together by looking at some actual environmental data from Guatemala. Check out this line pulled straight from an official vulnerability report on extreme climate events. Since greenhouse gas emissions cause global warming, Guatemala experiences extreme climate vulnerability. See how we applied the rule? We used the subordinating injunction since, and we followed it up with a full clause, subject and verb. And because that since clause came first, we perfectly placed our comma right in the middle. Textbook execution.
These reports also highlight massive issues like severe droughts and frosts. Let's use our noun connectors to break that down. Listen to this. Crop losses occurred due to prolonged droughts and severe frosts. Did you catch what we did there? Prolonged droughts and severe frosts is entirely a noun phrase. There's absolutely no verb in that second half, making due to the perfect grammatical choice.
The reports also note a really tragic effect that extreme cold has on public health. Let's practice our punctuation with this one. Temperatures dropped below freezing. As a result, respiratory diseases increased among vulnerable populations. We have two completely independent thoughts here, so we separate them with a period, capitalize as a result, and immediately follow that connector with a comma. Grammatically flawless.
Finally, the data shows how intense rainfall destroys unpaved roads. Let's pull out that advanced technical structure we learned earlier. Heavy rains deteriorated the unpaved roads, thus interrupting local transportation. We set up the cause, added our comma, and used thus paired with the ing verb, interrupting, to clearly show the direct effect on community transport.
Let's wrap this up. I want you to use this 3-step mental checklist every single time you write an academic sentence. First, clearly identify which part of your idea is the cause and which is the effect. Second, decide on your structure. Are you using a full clause with a verb or just a noun phrase? Choose your connector based on that. And third, double-check that punctuation. Make sure your commas and periods are in exactly the right spots.
You now have the structural blueprint to communicate complex logical relationships in academic English clearly and professionally. Whether you're in engineering, climate science, or humanities, mastering these mechanics is an absolute game changer for your writing. So I'll leave you with this. Now that you know the rules, what complex global issues will you explain in English next? Thanks so much for hanging out and mastering this with me. Happy writing!